The decline in home values that came as a result of the housing crash has had a pretty severe effect across the country, but that's been more severe in some places and in some communities than others. We went from about $5 trillion in outstanding mortgages in 2000 to 12 trillion in 2007, 2008. We're backing off from that. And we've also lost about $7 trillion in paper value, right? If you add up the total value of the home assets in, say, 2007 or the beginning of 2008 compared to 2010, there was a big drop, right? That was the erasure of a bunch of wealth that families in this country had accumulated because they had invested in their home, they'd built up equity, suddenly the home's worth 25% less, 30% less. That's wealth gone. One of the bigger problems we're dealing with is some communities were hit a lot harder than others. Particularly communities of color have seen unprecedented levels of wealth destroyed by the housing crash. In some cases, twice as much as we've seen in other communities. Partly that's because they were newer to the the home ownership scene. They had, not many generations, but one or two generations that had started investing and building up home equity. It's also that some of the communities where values fluctuated the most were those that were more marginal in terms of value. So you saw, as the housing buildup progressed, values rising and activity pushing farther and farther out. You drive farther from the center of the city, you would move farther from places of economic activity, you'd move to places where homes were cheaper. Sometimes that was just distance farther out, sometimes it was into neighborhoods that previously hadn't been great neighborhoods and were now coming back. But when the crash came, it hit those ones at the outskirts, either of economic activity or of the physical geography, hardest. And that's where you see a lot of communities of color. So it's been devastating.